The story of Roberts doesn't begin on a glittering stage in Hollywood. It starts in the humid, soul-stirring air of Brandon, Mississippi, where a 2-year-old toddler was doing something that the laws of nature, while other children were barely mastering their first words, was already harmonizing with the legends of Motown and the high-pitched perfection of Michael Jackson. His grandmother was the first to witness this eerie, supernatural talent, realizing that her grandson possessed a gift that was far too heavy for such small shoulders. This wasn't just a child singing for fun. It was a soul crying out from a place of deep, ancestral history. Neighbors would stop in their tracks, hearing the ghost of a legend coming from a toddler's lungs. It was the first sign that was never meant for an ordinary life. He was marked by destiny from his very first breath, a destiny that would eventually force him to choose between his humble roots and the blinding lights of global superstardom. In an industry where every pop star is manufactured in a lab with expensive vocal coaches and technical engineers, Roberts is a glitch in the system. The shocking truth that left American Idol producers scrambling is that this man has never had a single minute of professional vocal training. Think about that for a second. Every run, every vibrato, and every soul-crushing note was learned in the shadows of a local church, taught by nothing but his own intuition and a burning desire to be heard. This lack of formal education made him a wild card, a dangerous competitor who didn't follow the rules of music theory. He was singing from the gut while everyone else was singing from a textbook. But this raw approach came with a terrifying price. Without a coach to protect his instrument, was flying blind into a storm of vocal exhaustion. He was a self-taught warrior fighting a war with a sword he didn't know how to sharpen, risking a permanent loss of his voice every single time he opened his mouth to sing for the world. Fans across America fell in love with signature rasp, that gritty, soulful texture that made every song feel like a confession. But what the cameras didn't show was the medical reality behind that sound. In the heat of the competition, that rasp wasn't just a stylistic choice. It was a symptom of extreme vocal wear and tear. Admitted that there were nights when his voice was essentially failing him, leaning on the friction of his vocal cords just to produce a sound. It was a haunting game of survival. Every time the judges praised his unique tone, was secretly wondering if that performance would be his last. This rasp became his shield and his curse, a beautiful scar earned from years of singing in cold churches and high-pressure auditions. It's a miracle that he didn't off his career permanently during those grueling weeks of filming. The world heard a superstar, but if you listened closely, you could hear the sound of a man pushing his physical limits to the absolute breaking point. For Roberts, American Idol wasn't just a singing competition. It was a literal for his soul. Coming from a deep-rooted church background, he didn't view his competitors as his main rivals. Instead, he spoke about a much darker force, the enemy. When he performed hit songs, he wasn't thinking about fame or record deals. He was reinterpreting the lyrics as a direct confrontation with the demons of doubt and the people who tried to tear his name up. This wasn't just entertainment. It was spiritual warfare broadcast to millions of homes. He would take a standard pop song about a breakup and transform it into a victory cry against the darkness. This intense, religious focus gave him an energy that was almost frightening to watch. He wasn't just singing for a vote. He was singing for his life, believing that if he failed, the enemy would win. This raw, unfiltered faith made him the most polarizing and powerful figure in the history of the show, leaving secular audiences wondering what kind of power he was truly tapping into. Behind the smiles and the standing ovations was carrying a burden of guilt that would have crushed any other man. During the most pivotal stretch of the season, while he was becoming a household name, a massive event was happening back home, the birth of his third child. In a move that sparked intense debate among fans, chose to stay in the competition. He wasn't there to hear the first cry. He wasn't there to hold his partner's hand. He was on a stage, chasing a dream while his family was growing without him. He described the experience as a moment where he had to suck it up and channel that agonizing pain into his music. The world saw a man winning a trophy, but was feeling the void of a missed miracle. Was the price of fame worth missing the birth of his own blood? This controversial decision added a layer of tragic complexity to his victory, proving that the path to the top is often paved with sacrifices that leave permanent scars on the heart. There is one moment in season 23 that people still speak about in hushed tones: the night sang "Heal" by Tom Odell. It wasn't just a good performance, it was a glitch in reality. As the final notes echoed through the studio, something happened that the producers still can't explain. A total, heavy silence fell over the room. The lights, the fans, and even the technical equipment seemed to freeze in a moment of collective awe. Later claimed that this wasn't a rehearsed stunt, but a moment of genuine divine intervention. He felt as though time had stopped, and for a few seconds, the entire world was forced to be still. It was the moment that revealed his true purpose to the skeptics. Even the industry executives in the front row were visibly shaken. That silence was louder than any applause he ever received. It was a sign that wasn't just a singer. He was a vessel for something much larger than a television show, leaving viewers at home questioning if they had just witnessed a modern-day miracle on live TV. Before Roberts was the king of the charts, he was the king of rejection. For years, he walked into audition rooms only to be told he wasn't good enough, wasn't marketable enough, or that his voice was too niche. He was exposed to the harsh reality of the music industry early on, collecting a mountain of no's that would have made most people quit and find a regular job, but utilized those rejections as high-octane fuel. He developed a mindset where the opinions of others no longer mattered. He told himself that even if no one ever bought his music, he would keep singing until the world had no choice but to listen. This period of his life was marked by legal issues and financial struggles that nearly his ambitions. But every door slammed in his face only made him more dangerous. By the time he reached the American Idol stage, he was bulletproof. He didn't need the judges' validation, because he had already survived the worst the industry could throw at him, making his eventual victory a massive in the face of all his doubters. While the world focuses on Lionel and Perry, the real architects of success are hidden in the small town of Brandon. His pastor, Perry Fletcher, and the local mayor, Bland, weren't just supporters. They were his spiritual and political backbone. Long before the accusations surfaced that he was just a TV product, these men were investing in his character. They saw the shocking potential in a man who was often overlooked. This connection to his roots is what kept grounded when the fame became toxic. While other contestants were focused on Instagram followers, was calling home to check in with his church community. This secret support system is what allowed him to handle the pressure of the spotlight without losing his mind. It's a rare story of a small town lifting a man up to the clouds, proving that you don't need a Hollywood publicist if you have a community that believes in your soul. His victory wasn't just his. It belonged to every person in Mississippi who knew his name before the world did. Now that the confetti has settled, the real drama is beginning. As we move into 2026, Roberts is at the center of a massive industry tug-of-war. Rumors are circulating that he is turning down multi-million-dollar pop contracts to focus on a healing-based gospel project that the labels fear won't sell. This revealed conflict shows the tension between his mission and the industry's greed. Will he sell out his church kid roots for a quick paycheck, or will he stay true to the vision that got him here? Insiders suggest that his next move will shock the establishment, as he plans to bridge the gap between secular soul and spiritual worship in a way that has never been done before. The stakes are higher than ever. If he succeeds, he changes the industry forever. If he fails, he becomes another, memory of a reality show winner who couldn't handle the transition. The eyes of the entire music world are on him, waiting to see if he will follow the path of God or the path of gold. As we look back at the meteoric rise of Roberts, we have to ask ourselves, are we witnessing the birth of a legend or just a fleeting moment of TV magic? Remains humble, insisting that he is just a vessel for hope and healing in a world that is desperately broken. But the intensity of his journey, the missed birth, the vocal damage, the spiritual battles, suggests that his legacy will be written in stone. He has proven that a self-taught kid from Mississippi can silence a room of thousands with nothing but a rasp and a prayer. He is a reminder that the most powerful stories aren't the ones that are perfectly polished, but the ones that are raw, honest, and filled with sacrifice. Whether you are a fan of his music or not, you cannot deny the impact he has made. As he signs out of this chapter and into the next, Roberts leaves us with a thought-provoking question. What are you willing to lose to find your voice? The story is still being written, and if the past is any indication, the next chapter will be even more shocking than the last.